Here's a peek at what guests had to say after the show.
Zach.
Don't ask me any questions. I don't know anything.
What is your opinion of the Keystone Pipeline?
Oh, that I do have an opinion on.
Oh, there you see it.
That I do. The Keystone Pipeline is a terrible idea.
Great.
It's
That's
as
enough.
simple as that. Common sense again. The oil companies would lie. It's like saying, if Canada said to us, hey, look, we want to run a pipe of sewage through your country, do you mind doing it? We would all say no.
Right.
This is the same thing, and that we're going into these oil sands so desperately, looking for this oil. It just seems like a giant waste of
Your
time.
dad was in oil, right?
Yeah, my dad, well, he owned a gas station.
He was the Shell answer man.
But
yeah.
no, my dad was in the oil business. Yeah, but they're never upfront with us, ever, about anything. And I don't know why we just don't learn that lesson about these oil. It's as simple as that to me.
Okay. Michael, why is Bradley Manning not seen as a hero like Daniel Ellsberg was with Watergate? Well, I think a lot of people do think.
Well, I think he is a hero.
Yeah, a lot of people.
If I were president, I'd have Cheney and Bush and Wolfowitz all arrested, and they'd be tried for lying to the American people. I can't think of a worse lie to tell than to take a country to war. Is there really a worse lie that a politician could tell than to take people to war and have thousands, hundreds of thousands killed? And the fact that Bradley Manning is going to serve life in prison or be executed because all he wanted to do was tell us how we were being lied to. This is disgraceful, and historians 100 years from now, if we're still here, with the, are not going to look kindly upon this.
Is there anything you think is off limits to put up on the internet for everyone to read? You know, anything in the government that shouldn't be put out for public?
Anything in the government? No, nothing.
Nothing?
No.
What about, you don't want to out CIA agents, do you?
Well, it's actually a good question, because I've been told since Benghazi last fall that was a consulate or an embassy. And now we learn it's a CIA station.
Yeah,
it's a part of the Black Ops thing of where.
Well, I mean, Chris Stevens wasn't part of the Black
No, not him,
Ops.
but the reason.
Certainly it was,
why people in the neighborhood might have been upset. If Saudi Arabia invaded us tomorrow,
right,
and suddenly somehow was able to take over, and they had a consulate station down on, Pico and Fairfax, who here might not consider paying them a visit? I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, I know your whole thing with people and Muslims and Islam and all this, but one.
My whole thing.
No, you just.
My whole thing is about people's beliefs, not that they're Muslims.
Right.
It's that if they believe something inimical, like if you hear someone, as I've heard congressmen say, that they believe we don't have to worry about global warming because in the Bible, God promised Noah he wouldn't try to wipe out the earth, as a congressman said, you would say that belief is harmful. Right. When I hear someone say their belief is that if you leave the religion, we could kill you, that's not prejudice on my part.
No.
I'm not the bad guy.
I'm not Glenn Greenwald. I'm
right.
Seriously, I understand. That's why you usually win the argument, because you're right. We can do the Book of Mormon, and Trey and Matt are not going to be killed.
Right.
I get that.
But we can't do the Book of Islam.
But my point with Muslims is that they don't want to take over America. They don't want to invade us. No. They just want us to fuck out of there.
I agree.
And leave them alone and let them work it out. And eventually, the oppressed in those countries will be free.
That was where I was.
Happened.
Yeah.
That's
where I was going with that question.
Please, Richard, jump in.
No, about energy independence. We are soon going to be energy independent in this country.
No, we'll be energy self-sufficient, but not energy.
Well, yeah, we don't need to get it from the Middle East anymore. And when we do, I don't see any reason why we need troops all over the world.
We'll be energy
Sorry. Go ahead.
We'll be energy self-sufficient. We won't be independent of the repercussions of Middle Eastern oil being interrupted, all of our economic partners. We have other interests in the Middle East. We've got interests from our relationship with Israel, to the fact of nuclear proliferation, to the fact of terrorists. We've got real interests in the Middle East. I don't think it should dominate U.S. foreign policy, but there are reasons not to simply walk away from it.
Okay. Andrew Ross Sorkin, are banks still too big to fail? He wrote the book, which was the great movie on HBO, Too Big to Fail. Now, we are in a more precarious situation than we were in 2008.
Okay, good and bad news. The banks are still too big to fail. That's the bad news.
Right.
Good news is I don't think they're going to fail anytime soon.
Oh, great.
But they will again at some point. Unfortunately,
Wow.
No, unfortunately,
I'm supposed to feel good about
no.
that?
Unfortunately, the economy is still so lousy. We talked about unemployment and all these other issues. There's not enough debt and leverage in the system. That's what took us sort of over the cliff last time. It will happen again. It might happen in 5 or 10 years or longer. But for right now, you can kind of.
What's the date?
You can kind of chill out.
What's the date?
What's the date?
happen?
But I worry about the size of them. But I don't just worry about the size of our banks. Today, I worry about the municipalities, the countries, the states. You know, too big to fail. We talked about it when I wrote the book about banking. Now it's about everything, and I think that's what we need to worry about more right now.
Okay. Well, right now we're not going to worry. We're going to party. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Real Time with Bill Maher, Friday night at 10. Ask Bill and his guests your questions right after the show at HBO.com.